And just like that, it's Happy Monday. Who doesn't like Mondays? I love Mondays. I say it every week, and I'll keep saying it every week. Monday's my favorite. Well, I like every day of the week, but Monday's one of my favorite days of the week. Why? Those of you who watch know why. Because I always get to talk to some really amazing people that are doing things positive in our community. And it's all about the positive around here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, as always, David Burrows, and I do appreciate you being here. And there we go. One of my regulars, Ronnie Fraser, out there already saying hello. Ronnie, how you doing, buddy? Hope you've had a good weekend and hope you're having a fantastic Monday. And all over the world's watching, just so you know, not to make my guests nervous. We are simulcast all throughout the world in about 7 different countries. We're all throughout Canada, United States, and several parts. We're live in Australia, United Kingdom. Where else are we? South Africa and Ireland are watching, thanks to our friends with their Facebook hubs. So all over the world, very excited for that. And podcasting now, too. Everywhere there's a podcast, Stitcher to Google Podcasts to Apple Podcasts. Spotify even has accepted us. So we're very excited about that. So if you can't look at me, let me rephrase that. If you don't have time to watch me, and you want to take me for a jog or on the road on your way to work, whatever, you can download the podcast from any of those selections as well. Some really cool stuff going to be talking about here today. And I'm excited because, my guests have got lots to share with you. My first guest is going to talk to you. Well, she's going to bring some friends on. We're going to talk to you about that coming up shortly. Harold Collins, local musician, is going to be joining me as well, talking about his band and another special night coming up. And Tana Leckie-Manchesterr talking about diabetes. So lots of positive things to talk about here. But first, I've got to set to rest a few things, just so you know. Sarnia Sings, Volume 3, is returning to the Imperial Theatre once again on May the 2nd this year. It's a Thursday night. It sold out last year. The first year it happened, it sold out short of about 10 seats. Last year it sold out. It's predicted again to sell out again. People are asking, when can I get tickets, David? Adam Dumont, the creator of Sarnia Sings this year, Volume 3, who invited me in on the first year to help him out, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it, supporting mental health awareness and suicide prevention and raising funds for that. We'll have Adam back on here again shortly. He was here a few weeks ago talking about Sarnia Sings. Max Major from K106.3, a few weeks ago, we surprised him live on the air to ask him to participate. Max had been after me, David, could I be on? Could I be on? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I was really teasing him. We wanted him on from the start. And so we got a live reaction from him. You can see that over on the K106.3 Facebook page. Max Major is going to be in there. Another announcement just made earlier. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to tell you in just a minute. But Sarnia Sings at the Imperial Theatre. When's it happening, David? May the 2nd down at the Imperial Theatre. Tickets go on sale very soon. Everybody's like, I was asked early this morning, they're like, what's the big secret? Just a couple of things to get in place, and it'll be worth the wait. Trust me. But coming up within the next few weeks, the next couple of weeks, before the end of March, I'll say that. You'll be able to go to imperialtheatre.net to get your tickets for Sarnia Sings, again happening on May the 2nd. It will sell out, I promise you. So as soon as they're on sale, if you want to go to this, and you should go to this, there's going to be about 16 to 20 local singers, performers. They go up there with a live rock band. And I say these guys are real rock stars because we're talking drummer from Big Wreck. We're talking players from the Killer Dwarves, Moist, backing up the singers. I did it last year. I sang, and it was amazing. An amazing audience there as well. So you want to be a part of something awesome in this city, get your tickets for Sarnia Sings when they go on sale. Tease. There's a reason we're teasing, but we'll keep you informed about that. All right, so May 2nd for that, Sarnia Sings. Just found out, I was on the phone with Adam Dumont like literally 30 minutes ago. Michael Van Hevel is next to be announced to be performing at Sarnia Sings. That's right, Michael Van Hevel, the crooner himself. This guy's amazing. close your eyes and listen to his voice. Frank Sinatra is up on that stage. He loves Frank Sinatra, a Bobby Darin fan, and so much more. He has been backed up by some of the largest orchestras. He's from around these parts, Lambton County. Super excited to have him again joining Sarnia Sings on May the 2nd, along with Max Major from K106.3. You bet you didn't know Max Major could sing. Boy, are you in for a surprise. All right, enough about that. Excited to have Michael Van Hevel, Max Major, joining us on that. And if you've never seen Michael Van Hevel, boy, the ladies really like Michael Van Hevel, that's for sure. All right, Sarnia Sings, and we've got the Sarnia Sting. And been a rocky road this year for Sarnia Sting, up and down, not a lot of consistency there, but a no-quit attitude keeps them going. They just came back from Sault Ste. Marie against the Sioux Greyhounds, a tough loss there. 6-1, the final score there. And we haven't been able to catch up and get any of the post-game interviews, obviously. They've been on the road, but they are back coming up tomorrow, a Tuesday night game. Yes, Tuesday, March. Where did the time go? They've been on the road, and tomorrow night, of course, as always, I will be there. Live pregame show with my friend Jay Peckham, and my friend Jake Chersky will likely join me there as well. 3 home games left before the playoffs. It's Saginaw tomorrow night. Another tough team. We'll see now how the Sarnia Sting makes out as they are fighting for playoff position in their division. So, again, tough loss against the Sioux Greyhounds. But Sioux Greyhounds, and not to make any excuses, we played really well against them. Sioux is a tough team. So we'll see tomorrow what happens. Puck drop will be at 7:05 p.m. Again, Jay Peckham and my friend Jake Chersky will join me pregame, and we'll have the intermission live on our Facebook page as well. So make sure you check that out. I know it was yesterday. Are you tired a little bit? You lost that hour's sleep last night? I don't really notice it. I sleep sporadically throughout the day, so I get my old man naps in. Make sure you change the batteries in your alarms, your fire alarms, your smoke alarms. Our friends at Sarnia Fire Rescue highly recommend when you change the clocks, change the batteries once a year. What's a battery cost? I was guilty for the longest time. I had one here in my studio. I took the battery out because it kept going off, beep, beeper. I didn't know whatever. Took the battery out, and then it was just hanging there with no battery. And then I listened to Sarnia Fire Rescue. They're on CHOK in the mornings, every Tuesday morning, and they were talking about that. And this came up, and I was like, you know what? I got to get that battery in there because you just never know, right? So make sure you got your smoke alarms and make sure you change the batteries. Had our friend Jay Peckham. Speaking to him, he's a busy guy. He's involved in theater. He's involved in hockey. He's involved in basketball. He's also involved in SMA boys baseball, and the online registration is open for that. And he also mentions that they are doing their cash calendars once again this year, and they're on sale there as well. We'll have all the links to reach out to these folks. Of course, you can find them on Facebook typically, but we'll have links after today's show so that you can reach out to them and find out more what they're talking about there. The Epilepsy Foundation is having a paint party, and we're going to have our friend Stacey Mayola is going to be joining us here next week to talk about this. And Kat Cabahar, the painted cat, was here last week talking about her paint party, her Bob Ross paint party that she had this past Friday. And as it turned out, I ran into her in a local store parking lot here and was talking to her about that. And I've been asked, because of our interview, and I mentioned that I had epilepsy when I was younger, and I outgrew it when I was about 14. I've been asked if they're going to Facebook Live David Burrows trying to paint. So could be a comedy hour, because I really suck at artistic things. I can't draw stick people, and I know that's an old joke. I'm not kidding. But Painted Cat swears she can teach anybody who's coachable and trainable, which might be tough for me. But I trust the Painted Cat. She's painted my face before and dressed me up as Santa Claus, and now she's got me doing anyway. It should be a lot of fun. It's going to be for a great cause for Epilepsy of Ontario, so I'm happy to support that and keep watching the Facebook. I don't know how I get talked into these things, but I do, and it's going to be fun. So if at my expense you are entertained, then I'm okay with that if it raises some money along the way as well. So keep watching for information on that. Very excited for this. The tall ships are coming to Sarnia August 9th to the 11th. This is amazing. I don't know if you understand just how impactful this is going to be on our community. People from all over are coming here, including from the United States. I talked to Rob Hardwood, Director of Parks and Recreation for the city of Sarnia not too long ago, and they can tell where all the tickets that are being, they've sold almost 4,000 tickets already. This thing isn't happening until August. If you want to be a part of this, definitely go on their Facebook page, get the information. Their website's there as well. Order your tickets online now. This is a lifetime experience that you don't want to miss. I've got some really cool things they're going to let me announce coming up over the next couple of weeks. All these teasers that I got going on. Is it fun to be me? Yeah. You really want to get out and enjoy this. Something that's going to impact like thousands and thousands of people that are coming from this. People from all over the United States, Rob tells me, are planning their vacations around being here when this happens. What an opportunity to showcase our where we live here in Lambton County, and specifically down here in Sarnia on the beautiful waterfront that we have here. And the Carpenters Union, big supporters, along with Imperial Oil Sarnia site, big supporters as well. And not only is it going to be happening with the tall ships, but this year partnering up with Blue Water Border Fest, who's returning once again August 8th to the 11th, so the Thursday to the Sunday. Talking to Mark Perrin, can't quite, here's another teaser, some really cool acts getting ready to be announced as part of Blue Water Border Fest again this year, all happening the same weekend. And if that wasn't enough, if you want some art and culture into you, Artscape by the Bay has moved their regular weekend to be a part of the tall ships as well. So you've got the tall ships, you've got Artscape by the Bay, you've got Blue Water Border Fest, and I'll tell you probably next week what else is happening with that as well. So very, very exciting times here in Sarnia Lambton. So check that out on their Facebook page as well. All right. Look at that. Happiness happening on the screen. Puppets and positive. That's what this is all about. At least that's a part of what it's all about. My next guest is from the Family Counselling Centre, and she is the kids on the block. Sorry, not the new kids on the block. The kids on the block. I'm going to ask her how often she gets that. She's in the lobby here now. And she, meaning this is Amy Nazarewich. Did I say it right?
You did, yes. Yeah.
Okay. The whole time I was talking there, Priya, I'm like, okay, you got to get it right. Got to get it right.
You're not the first and you won't be the last.
Oh, that's awesome. Amy, thanks for being here. And who's this friend that you have here joining us?
I brought with me my friend Claire. This is Claire Sanchez. Claire, you want to say hi?
Hi, Claire.
She says hi back. And she is one of my puppets from the Kids on the Block program over at the Family Counselling Centre.
So the Kids on the Block program, this looks like a lot of fun, but there's obviously a purpose behind all of this.
Yes. So the Kids on the Block is a program that utilizes kids such as Claire here, these wonderful animated life-size puppets who represent children who might or might not have disabilities, whether that's physical, intellectual, or developmental, so that they can help to promote inclusion, diversity, as well as prevention, bullying awareness, and safety.
All right. Well, now you would think that this is, to a lot of people, this might sound like something new they maybe haven't heard of, but this has been going on for quite some time.
Yes. So Kids on the Block has actually been a part of the counseling center since the late 80s. And we've primarily performed in schools, in gymnasiums. But over the last few years, we've been getting into the libraries as well during the summer. We've been at Art Walk. We did Racing Against Drugs a few Novembers ago.
Oh, nice.
So it is a little bit of a niche. But hopefully getting the word out there a little bit more, because I do think that they promote such a great message that's very easily accessible to children. Yeah.
Now, how did this get started? Obviously, you say way back then, this got started by somebody else, but you inherited this, did you? Or what's the backstory here?
Yes. So I came to Sarnia a few years ago from Windsor. And actually, Windsor's Children's Aid Society has their own Kids on the Block program that primarily deals with safety, safety for ourselves, for others. I volunteered there, and when I was moving to Sarnia to be with my partner, I had called the counseling center to look at volunteering with another program, and I happened to mention my background with the Kids on the Block, and they were looking for a coordinator at the time, and that's kind of how I landed this job. That's been, I couldn't imagine that something that I loved volunteering with would actually be something I could do as a career.
Wow. Well, good for you. And you obviously, it shows in your smile when you talk about it there, how enjoyable you're having with, or you enjoy this. Obviously, you seem really passionate about it as well. I see Claire nodding there. Yep.
She agrees. She has fun too.
Yeah. Can I talk to Claire? Will she tell me a few things, or?
Yeah, I can tell you a few things.
All right. So Claire, what do you, what's your favorite part about being a part of the Kids on the Block program?
Well, I like that I get to go and play with my friends, and we get to talk to kids about a lot of cool things. So we get to go to different schools, get to go hang out with different kids. And
who's there?
That would be Teddy, the dog.
Hi, Teddy.
Funny, yeah. And we get to meet a lot of different kids too, who get to talk to us about a lot of different things and share their ideas. Mm-hmm.
So when they share their ideas, so this is a really interactive thing for the children then.
Yes. Why don't you take it away, Amy?
Okay, well.
Yeah. Thanks, Claire.
So it's very interactive in that there's a lot of back and forth between myself and the kids. So this is usually done on a presentation scale where we'll be in a gymnasium or even a library with different classrooms. But throughout the scripted messages, there's a lot of opportunity for questions and answers that the kids actually get to ask the puppets, which is really neat. So what's really unique about this program is that us as puppeteers are actually on stage with the puppets. It's a style of puppetry called bunraku, which originated from Japan. And it's essentially a hand and rod style puppetry where the puppeteers are on stage. But what's really magical is that the charming nature of the puppets and just how lively they are, we as puppeteers kind of disappear into the background, and the kids don't even notice us, honestly. And what that allows is for the kids to ask questions that they might not normally ask, which is really neat.
Gets them to open up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're talking about messages that I think are very relevant to kids because it talks about, diversity. So in the past, we had been talking about multiculturalism, and the kids asked really, really cool questions about culture and what does that mean? What does that mean for people maybe who don't look like me or don't look like other people, or maybe we do things differently. And what's really neat is, so sometimes kids, might be shushed out of, embarrassment from parents, that kind of fear. But they really get to open up and again, ask amazing questions. So some of our puppets do represent children with physical disabilities. One of them happens to be in a wheelchair. His name's Mark Riley, and he's actually the first Kids on the Block puppet that was ever created. Oh, wow. And we were presenting for we were doing two presentations, one for a younger group and one for the older group. For the younger group, we had Mark Riley, so the older group could see his wheelchair out. And they asked what that was about, why didn't any of the puppets they see have, why weren't they in wheelchairs? So we brought out Mark Riley for the older group. And they just went to town asking him amazing questions like, do you miss walking? How do you swim? How do you do this and that? And it was really, really cool.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that aspect of it up. I mean, we talk about bullying, we talk about different genders now, and we talk about all kinds of things. That's actually one, like you see somebody in a wheelchair, we don't ask those questions, right? Because we don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't know if it's them or ourselves or whatever that is. But and this program, I'm guessing, since it started, has evolved in different ways because our society has changed so much. I mean, I was just watching a documentary on the Little Rascals. You remember that? Did you ever hear the Little Rascals?
I do remember them. My mom used to watch them, and she had old VCR tapes.
Well, that was from the 1930s, right? And they had, you know, there was a lot of different things going on and being said in something like that, right down to the one little kid, they called him Chubby, right? Yeah. And that was okay. Right. I mean, again, this was the 30s. So that's obviously changed since then. So how does it, what kind of things do you guys have to do to, I guess, I say educate yourselves on what's changing, what's happening out there?
The best thing is to, even as educators, always be a student. So I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to stay up to date with what's going on, especially in our community. So I think that networking with different agencies has really helped to develop important language, because language is always changing. It's always evolving. And that's something that I really try to pay attention to. Is the language that's being used, and are the lessons still current? You know, is this still relevant? So definitely networking with those different agencies, checking out different information and educational sources is something that's really important to me. I don't ever want to come across that I have all the answers, because I don't. And I think that that's really important for my knowledge and learning, and for keeping the program current.
Yeah, being a good listener, right? I guess, and taking in the feedback. That's one thing I noticed about the Family Counselling Centre, and we've had a few folks on here talking about it, is the collaboration between the Family Counselling Centre and many of the other agencies that are here already existing in Sarnia. To have those good relationships, one, I guess, to avoid duplication. Yep. And somebody in your position, you're really quite in a unique position, I would say.
I would think so. To my knowledge, there's not many other programs that are quite like this. What's fantastic about this program is it combines, I think, the power of storytelling, which is really important in how we receive information and how we store that information. But then it also uses educational tools to talk about important messages, which is important. And that's done at a level that I think children of different age groups can, connect and identify with, which is fantastic. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It flew.
No, but that's okay.
But it's very different, but it combines a few different aspects of learning, especially where kids might be talked to or talked at all day. This is modeling and displaying different behaviors and different scenarios, and kind of guiding kids into different ways to approach social situations. Yeah.
I like that you mentioned storytelling. And I'm hearing that more and more. And I was just at a conference not too long ago, and they were talking about storytelling in our communities. And they were showing actually some statistics on how just by storytelling, find the storytellers in your communities, people seem to relate more to things. They don't feel as intimidated to open up. That was something that was brought up. So this is obvious. So this is for the kids, but is there an adult aspect somewhere in this too?
I would say that adults could definitely benefit from these lessons, and kind of that power of play to kind of put yourself back in that position or that mindset of being a child, where we receive so much information as kids. And for the most part, I would say that kids are pretty receptive to that information. So as an adult receiving that information, I think that can be very powerful, especially to kind of let loose and maybe not take things so seriously. But the other adult aspect too is just learning and playing with the puppets. I think that our puppeteers, who are all volunteers, and they do this on a voluntary basis, which is fantastic. I think that they learn just as much as the kids are learning, because as the puppets who are receiving the questions, they kind of have to answer back as those puppets, you know, to the best of their ability. So I think that, you know, learning through play as they're learning how to puppeteer and learn these scripts, I think that's very beneficial for them too. I certainly, in my time as Kids on the Block coordinator, I think I've learned a lot, and I know that I'm going to continue to learn.
So you, as the puppeteer, and the other puppeteers, must have to take your own time to have conversations with each other, and give different perspectives to things, and just you probably need to support each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to make the rehearsal environment and even like the presentation environment as collaborative as possible. So there is always that give and take. And I think that's also just that nature of theater in general, whether it's for educational purposes or for entertainment. You know, there always has to be that give and take.
Yeah. Now, you talk about the puppeteers. So what kind of background? I mean, obviously some kind of theater background or puppeteer background? Or
no, not
what?
at all, to be honest.
No?
Not at all. There is no skill, no prerequisites required. This is honestly something anybody can learn. So we go through learning the basics of puppetry, to learning the scripts, to learning stage direction. And we do it over a few-week period so that you can kind of get that handle on it. But yeah, there's no experience required. And it's honestly, and I might be a little bit biased, but it is a ton of fun. I love this program so much. And my puppeteers who are on board, I think they keep coming back because they enjoy it.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've got a fan out there. I don't know if you saw that, but Colleen Thompson says, "You were so kind and talented, Amy."
Thanks, Colleen.
You've got some fans. That's great. And Helen Coles, who many of us know, but we know her well too from Family Counselling Centre. She's asking if you're going to have the puppets at the Jukebox Challenge that's coming up.
Yes, for you folks who secured a table and a spot at our sold-out Jukebox Challenge. I will be bringing the puppets with me, and hopefully and assuredly we will all be having a great time there. We're looking forward to it.
So a bit of a demonstration will you be putting on?
That is the plan, and that is the hope, yes.
All right. Yeah, the Jukebox Challenge. Congratulations to everybody there. I know Helen had told me not too long ago that was sold out, and I was like, oh, I didn't get a ticket, and I wasn't sure if I could go, but she's pretty convincing. I think I could probably get my foot in the door just to take a look around and see what's happening there. So I'll have to confirm that, which is great that there's lots of support going on out there. So how does somebody, have their kids participate in this, or what's the process?
So the process is essentially if any teachers or librarians or anybody in the community wants to get in contact with us, they can contact us at the Family Counselling Centre. They can call the number, ask for my extension, and that's usually the best and surefire way to go about that. For those who might be interested in volunteering and becoming a puppeteer and learning how you too can be a master in Bunraku puppetry, then you can, again, contact me at the counseling center, and we can just go from there. Usually it's a quick chat. I bring them in, and usually once they see the puppets, they instantly fall in love.
I'm sure. Well, Claire, you're very adorable and nice to talk to as well. So Claire, I want to thank you so much for being here and participating. That's so awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me, Claire.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. And Amy Nazarewich, thank you so much. I've got it written down. There's no excuse for me ever forgetting that. I really do appreciate your time. And I think it's really super awesome, fantastic what you got going on there. And hopefully we can get the word out more so that more people can take advantage of your services.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having us on your show. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome back. We'll have you back again real soon.
Great. Bye.
Bye for now. Amy and Claire from the Fancy Family Counselling Centre, the Family Counselling Centre. My words are tongue-tied today. But that was really neat. And thanks to Claire as well being on there. The Kids on the Block program is available at the Family Counselling Centre. What a really neat idea. It's been going on for such a long time and a great way to get young children to open up about many, many conversations that need to be had. All right. Thanks again, Amy and Claire. And thank you, Family Counselling Centre. And congratulations on the sellout of the Jukebox Challenge. All right, coming up next, Circle the City. I'm not talking about your bicycle or going for a drive. I'm talking about some really awesome music. And my friend Harold Collins, who joined us a few months ago, is back for a follow-up. Harold, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Fantastic. Congratulations on the success of the first indie night that you had back in January. That's exciting.
Yeah, it was a little bit unexpected. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out when I first went ahead with it, but yeah. we had some good bands, and like I said before, I think there is the want and there's the market for that thing to happen.
Well, you and I had a lot of conversations, actually. I remember several conversations with you as much as a year and a half before. You'd been working on this, and then probably in your own mind even longer before that. And, we talked about a lot of different things, do's and don'ts and hopefuls and how to handles and all that sort of stuff. What was it that made you push through and just go, I'm just going to do this thing and work it out?
A couple things, really. So first, it started with, I've played in bands for a while, and I saw the lack of events or focus on original bands. So that was that. There's nowhere to really play, so that factored in. And then I was playing in a band, and I just got sick of playing covers, to be honest, and I wanted to do originals. And so I started a band and with some other people, and we were doing originals. And then kind of selfishly, it was we want somewhere to play. So, nobody knew who we were. So how do we make that happen? And then that kind of came together with the other idea of just having an event for original music, showcasing it. So
yeah, well, and that's you make a good point in there about the covers. I think when we originally first started talking, it was when you said needed somewhere to play. It's like, we can play this bar. Well, yeah, but they don't. Mm-hmm. When the bar owner hires you to play music, they typically they want you to play music that people recognize, so they get dancing and partying and having fun, and they spend their money. That's the short end of it right there. With the exception of Patty Flaherty, of course, does a fantastic job of supporting independent music and has done that for many years, which is great. But aside from that, so you took it upon yourself, for people watching that don't know, tell them a story about how you went to Theater 42 and decided to take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and say, well, if we're going to do this, I guess we're going to do it ourselves.
Yeah. So, basically, it was just that. I mean, I wanted to do this, and I had been thinking about it and talking about it to you and other friends and my wife for a long time. And it was just like, okay, let's see if this is doable. And I actually got Theater 42 from you when we had a conversation about it, and I had forgotten about them. So when I was setting it up and thinking, okay, where can I have this happen? I emailed and messaged and called a few different locations. None really got back to me. And then, but one of those emails went to Theater 42, and one of the owners, John LeVere, got back to me. I met with him, and he was completely on the same page as me as far as my reasoning behind wanting to do it. And, we kind of built a little bit of a relationship there with, he started a theater group along with a couple other partners, but for essentially the same reasons. There was nowhere for him to do it, and you know, he wanted to you know, put on shows. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it went about, and I'm glad that he got back to me, because I think, you know, we have something really good, and we're not planning for the third one, but it's kind of in the back of our minds and different options. So
yeah. And we'll talk about I know you've got another one coming up shortly. Probably be here sooner than you think. But let's talk about your band, Circle the City. Though I've seen you kind of from when we first met. I've seen where you started, and I've seen your journey and your growth to where you're at now, which has been fantastic to follow. But you've had some success recently with this. You signed with an indie label. Is that correct?
We did, yes. There's a label there's many, but the one we signed with is in London, England, and they're called Complete Opposite Records.
Okay.
We signed with them at the beginning of December, actually.
Yeah.
So I guess the band, like myself and the drummer, started playing together last August. And then we met our singer, Riley, and if you haven't heard her, she'll turns heads as soon as she
hang on to her.
Yeah. she's really, really good.
I have not heard her yet, but I've heard amazing stories about her.
She's
a pretty awesome singer.
Yeah, I feel like we hit the jackpot on that one, and that was I think I answered a post on Kijiji is where that I saw that. Yeah, of all places. So
you never know.
No, you never know, exactly. So yeah, we started playing together, and then I had some originals that I had written, and then so when the band came about, we kind of reworked them a little bit and recorded them, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna send them out there and see what happens, and this label came back.
So let's talk about, I think people get excited when they hear, we signed.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people go, oh, you hit it big. Well, you're on the path, right?
Yeah.
You're not quitting your jobs or anything yet, but this is certainly a step in the direction that you've always wanted to achieve. Like I say, you don't get rich or really have a lot of success playing cover bands unless you're maybe a tribute band, I guess, but that's another story. But this is support. So what does that mean? You got signed. So what do they do for you?
So a big thing is, marketing. Obviously, they're located in Europe, so they have contacts over there, and they have a marketing team over there as well. But it means, someone's paying for us to record music, and they're helping us put it out there. And then, with social media being what it is, it is free, and you can advertise, blah blah blah. But it's that, and then we have a company that's also doing that.
Yeah. But as free as social media is, it still does have some limitations.
Correct.
Because the social media owners, they're not stupid either. They want to get paid.
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg has to put money in his pocket somehow.
Right.
And all the rest too. And let's touch a little bit, and congratulations on that, by the way. That's really exciting, because I know you'd kind of hinted that something was coming along before that. So I was happy to see when that happened. I saw an interesting conversation with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith on Joe Rogan's show, which you should maybe take a look, because you and I talked about how the internet has affected musicians, bands, however you want to label it. It can be restraining, but used properly, it can be advantageous. But one of the problems with the internet is it's created this expectation of free, and Steven Tyler, if you get a chance to watch it with Joe Rogan, he talks about it incredibly about how it's been advantageous, but it has its issues too. And we think we go on the internet and it's all Napster's fault, and Steven Tyler hates Napster. He said some pretty nasty words about Napster, but anyway, back to the point is, how have you dealt with that? Have you had to deal with that, so that kind of stuff? You know, like you still put out CDs, or how do you, you know, you put it on iTunes? Like, what's your goal there?
So good question, because we are actually currently doing that. So we have 2 singles out, and they've both been released via streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. And then so we are working on a full-length release that we're hoping to put out in, I don't know, June or something like that, let's say.
Okay.
And we haven't approached that aspect. Do we want to just sell it digitally? Do we want to make some hard copies? Because then that costs a little bit more money. And streaming music doesn't make you any money. Like,
well, yeah, Spotify doesn't pay you any money for being there.
No. We've had, you know, we've had 2 songs out, say, for 2 months. And I don't know, off the top of my head, I think we've had like 1,500 streams. I think we've made $2.50 off that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
in comparison to, say, 20 years ago, if we sold 1,500
records,
CDs, right?
CDs,
yeah, what we would have made off that. And, you know, so there is that problem there, because, you know, we're not necessarily getting the return on what we spend on recording, mixing, and mastering, which, you know, like so we record stuff at my house, and then we also work with Mike Mackay's at the Grove Productions, and his rates are, you know, very, very good. But then we also have to have it mastered, which costs money. But still, we're paying out money and we're not getting that back. So, I mean, I think iTunes and Spotify, they have their benefits, but I also see why musicians, like big musicians, are angry with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, if you sell a song for 99 cents, and by the time iTunes and everybody else takes their piece, if you get 5 cents, that's okay if there's 1 million people downloading it.
Right.
Right. And you know, Steven Tyler wanted to talk about Spotify. He goes, they're not paying any money to the artist. They're
no.
Now I don't know if you meant like 0 or if it's just pennies, but there's a lot of lawsuits and stuff going on there right now. But that, you know, that has to be concerning, because when you get to the point of where, okay, so I'm doing this because I love it, that's great. I'm doing it because I love it, that's great. But sooner or later, if it's something you want to do for your living, you have to get paid somehow.
Right.
And it becomes a business. It can be a passionate business, but it becomes a business. You have to get an ROI, right? You have to get a return on your investment. And if you're, like you said, if you're putting out this money, and the labels you sign with, you know, they obviously see something long term that goes, okay, we're investing, but there has to be a time frame on, okay, we got to start getting paid or this just isn't working.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't reached that yet. Like, we do play out of town, and we have a little bit of a band fund from some previous shows to pay for us to get out of town. But you are right. Like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to go tour the world or anything like that. But let's say we do release an album and we're releasing a single on this label at the end of April. We have our next single coming out. So if that gets any sort of traction or, you know, interest, and you know, there's, you know, requests to play shows or whatever, I don't know where we get the money from to front a tour. You know, it's not really that cheap. You know, where do you? I have a full-time job, so I have bills I gotta pay. You know, as well as my bandmates.
You can travel, but you gotta eat.
Right. And so that's exactly it. You know, like it is a business, and we are starting to approach it from that aspect, because, you know, we're also talking about getting like merchandise and stuff. And it's like, well, you know, you got to spend a little bit of money to make some. So I don't know. We're kind of taking it one step at a time.
It's a journey
at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, good for you for taking the steps, because it's an interesting business that you're in, and I got to attest to that even from the side of what I do. At some point, it has to be treated like a business, or treat it like a hobby. Make hobby money, right? You know, that kind of thing. So, well, I got to move on here shortly. Just before I wrap up, though, let's talk about Sarnia Indie Night, the next in the volume, or the series, I guess you could say, is coming up in May.
It is May 25th, again at Theater 42. If you haven't been there, I suggest you go check it out because it's a great little venue. They have a Facebook page. They're always putting on events, but this next one I think is going to be very big. We have some good bands on it, good artists. Downriver Band, they're well known. Puce, they actually just won the Jim Beam Talent Search Award, and they're off to Canadian Music Week in Toronto, which is
great,
awesome. Peace Pilot, that's Andrew Brody, and yeah, he's it's his original project with some other. They've actually been around for a while, and I think they've had a few different names, but this is the name they're going by right now. And you know, Andrew's an amazingly talented musician.
Very talented.
As he plays with, and then Gooch is like a two-person electronica type of thing. They're actually pretty cool. Roots of Rome are two ladies that play acoustic. They're actually some friends of my sister. They played at her wedding, and I was like, they're great, you know. So I got them to you know, play. This is actually this isn't going to be their first show. They're opening for us at Twisted Arm in a couple of weeks as well, but they're on this bill as well. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
real quick. So how do people get tickets? Are they on sale yet?
Yeah. So they went on today. I just came off nights and I woke up and they were on sale. But so if you go to our Facebook page or Theater 42, their website, I think you can buy them there as well. But if you go to the Facebook page, Sarnia Indie Nights, there's an event there, and there's a link to the ticket sales there.
Perfect.
And there's limited amount, so don't wait because they sold out a week before last time.
Well, I'm hoping I can make it this time because I wasn't. I was committed, so I couldn't.
Well, let me know, Dave, and I'll put you on the guest list. You know?
All right, I will do. That'd be awesome. Well, congratulations on the success of this. I'm really proud of you for following through on this. And again, if there's anything I can do to help you, or you just want to chat about it anytime, I'm an open door here. You got my number for sure. So thanks so much, and all the best to the rest of the band there. And we'll keep following you on your journey there.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave.
Thanks, Harold. Harold Collins from Circle the City, having some success there. Always nice to see. We have a talented city here, folks. If you don't know that yet, wow, you're not paying attention. Some very talented musicians here at Harold Collins and his band. So Sarnia Indie Nights coming up May the 25th. We'll definitely keep following up, and we'll post that and show you where you can get your tickets for that as well. All right, diabetes. Boy, there's a word you hear regularly, probably more than we'd like to. And most of us somewhere deal with diabetes. I myself am type 2 diabetic. And it's one of those things where you just don't know what a person is dealing with and going through. And some friends of ours locally, she's back again. She's a busy lady, Tana Leckie-Manchesterr, involved in a lot of things, but this time we're talking about diabetes. Hello, Tana.
Hi, how are you? I'm
doing great. And who's this young lady here with you?
This is my daughter, Kira. Hi.
Hi, Kira. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So this
Kira,
is
type 1 diabetes. Yeah.
Type 1, yes.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, that's what we're talking about here is I know we've got the I Challenge Diabetes coming to Sarnia, and there's now an I Challenge Diabetes Sarnia chapter, which is fantastic. But Tana, let's start with you and kind of give the backstory on why is this coming around here? What's the importance of this?
Well, Kira was diagnosed last April, and you know, being a type 2 diabetic yourself, there is a lot that goes along with being a type 1 diabetic and the management. So it was just a lot learning all of this stuff, right? You're doing blood tests, like, you know, up to 10 times a day. You're doing injections up to 10 times a day, counting your carbs. It just, you know, a lot of planning. The first insulin she was on, Humalog, she would have to figure out what she wanted to eat and then inject and then wait 15 minutes to eat. And, you know,
it's a busy thing to handle.
It's a lot.
Kira, can I ask you a couple questions about it? Yeah. So first of all, how old are you, Kira?
I'm 12.
Okay, so you're busy. You've got a lot going on in your life. Are you involved in sports?
I am a dancer.
You're a dancer. Okay. So you've got extracurricular activities going on. You've got family going on. I know you got a busy family too, which is great. But then this comes into your life and kind of throws you a curveball. And, you know, as a teenager, we'll call you teenager. You're just about there, right? You got a lot going on, and this thing throws you a curveball. It's got to be hard to manage, and it's got to be emotional for you to go, oh, why me or something, right? Like, how do you handle this stuff?
It is a challenge, definitely, but like I get through it with my mom and everything. Like she's always there for me, and she always helps me do it. Like when I don't want to do it, she just gives me my injections, and it's just like it's nice, but like, you know, I'd rather not have it. But it's definitely
yeah. Well, it's good that moms are there to make you do things sometimes you don't want to do. You'll realize later that they're doing the right thing. Yeah, she's rolling her eyes at me. She's going, yeah, I know, but that's good. But the fact that you're here, though, talking about this with us, Kira, and thanks for doing that. You're really setting an example as kind of a leader to show other people your age that this is important to deal with, and this is why. Is that why you're here today? You want to let other people know that you're going to have to deal with this?
Well, like it's also to know like you're not alone, because no one that has diabetes type 2 or type 1 is alone, because a lot of people do have it. So it's just like to show like don't give up, and like it will get easier eventually.
Yeah. So support, right? I guess, you know, when I'll be honest, Tana, when you first told me about this, I was like, well, yeah, sure, that sounds good. And then you know, I'm always about supporting local and positive. And of course, it probably connected with me for personal reasons, but I never really thought about a support group for diabetes. I mean, you know, you go to the doctor says you have it. This is what you do. They send you to a dietitian, and they tell you what to eat or what not to eat, and we tend to educate ourselves a bit, but there's really a lot of people that can use this support.
Yeah, for sure. And type 1 is a little bit different than type 2. Type 1,
absolutely,
you're not using any insulin at all, so you are insulin dependent in order to live. And yeah, you don't manage it with diet. You can eat whatever you want pretty much, and you have to just count your carbs. Not just, it's a lot of stuff. But what I was starting to hear from Kira, especially when she was having lows, I don't know if you ever have lows. But yeah, so she, you know, would get a little bit more upset and a little bit more emotional when she's, you know, having a low. Definitely. And, you know, I'd hear a lot of, you don't understand. Yeah, you don't understand. You don't get it. And I was kind of like, well, she's right. Like, I just know as a mother how I feel with her having to deal with this, but I'm not that has to give myself needles. I'm not the one that has to plan out everything I eat. I'm not the one that, you know, is worried about having a low in the middle. Well, I do worry about her having a low in the middle of the night.
Of course you do. But it's really at the end of, I mean, you're the mom responsible. Yes. But Kira, you got to be responsible, right?
Yes, absolutely. So that's where I was kind of like, okay, like she needs something more than, you know, just mom and, you know, the rest of her family, some people that get it. So I reached out to another mom actually through the diabetic clinic. Her name's Cindy and her son Seth. And, you know, we kind of wanted the same things for our kids to be able to connect and families to be able to connect as well. So we did a little bit of research and we found this I Challenge Diabetes. It's a nonprofit out of North York, founded by Canadian Olympic rower Chris Jarvis, who himself has type 1 diabetes. And these events that he holds, he calls it I forgot the word there for a second, experiential education or experiential learning. So they do sports camps, dance, drama camps. You have lunch together. And while you're doing all this fun stuff together, everybody's getting out their testers. Everybody's doing a blood test. Everybody's injecting or, you know, working their pumps. And they're teaching how to manage it, right? With sports, because I know that was a big thing for Kira. She was like, well, can I dance? Can I do this? Can I do that? And, and you can, but it's a little bit scary, right? So
definitely, it is really scary sometimes. I'm like, because sometimes I'm like, well, what if I have a low? Because I just had one, and I get nervous, but in the end, it's fine.
Right.
So these guys, all the leaders that come out to these camps, they all have type 1 diabetes themselves. They're all physically active, and you know, it's about empowering these kids and showing them that yes, you are you can do anything that you set your mind to. And, you know, they'll have little tips and tricks themselves because they've been living with it as well. So,
well, and it's good I guess it's good for that because, you know, when this thing comes along and you probably sit down and I don't know, maybe you have a little cry or you take a deep breath or whatever, however it first comes into your life and you respond to it. But then the questions happen. Well, what, I don't know, like,
exactly.
Can I do this? Can I do that? And there's a lot you can do, but you have to manage it, right? Kira, can I ask you? So do you have a like one that is attached to you all the time?
I do.
Injector? Yeah. Is that what it is? A pump?
Yeah. So we actually were at the diabetic clinic this morning, and she just went
got
live
it today.
today.
Oh, okay. You're all wired up now.
Yes.
Yeah. She's excited. More needles, hopefully.
What's that?
No, she's excited. No more needles, just the blood test.
Yeah, I can't. You know what? I still to this day, Kira, when I go for blood tests, I look away and I sing "Mary Had a Little Lamb" in my head because that's what I did when I was a kid, and I still do to this day. So you're not alone in that fear of needles. And I have some family, some young family, and some not so young family that are dealing with it as well, and have the pumps. Sorry, and you're still dancing. You're going to be okay doing that. And exercise is actually really good for diabetics, right?
Yes, for sure. Laying around definitely spikes you.
When I'm sick, like I honestly, like I can't, like I can maybe lay at home for like 2 days, but like after that, I feel so crappy that I have to like get up and do something because I just
no more laying around, Mom.
Yeah, well, Christmas break was a bit of a challenge because, you know, what kids do over Christmas? They, you know, layer in much.
Yeah.
So she had to get outside and get moving around and bring her blood sugars down.
And it's the simplest thing. I sit in this chair, you know, here for an hour on this. And then many days I'm in my studio doing. So I sit in this chair a lot of times, and I probably don't do as diligently as I should, but I have to remember to get up every once in a while and just go for a walk, even around the house, because the circulation and all that stuff, right? So it's those kind of things, right? You probably didn't know when this first all came about, and now you've got the support.
I honestly didn't even know it did. I thought diabetes affected your heart, not your pancreas. I didn't even know what pancreas was.
Right.
It's like when it all came, I was like, what? Like I had no idea.
Well, so you were, I was going to say, Kira, were you surprised? I mean, obviously you were surprised, but I mean, we hear diabetes, we think sugar. I think that's the first word I think probably pops into our head. So did you kind of go like, well, how do I get this? Like,
everybody says that like all of my friends think that you get diabetes from eating too much sugar or you did it. And no, sometimes your body it just happens and there's no explanation why it happens. It just happens. And I think more people just need to know that it's not because of sugar. Like I can still eat sugar, just it has to be reasonable, like moderation basically.
You have to know how much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you do to get type 1 diabetes. It's just they think it might be a virus with some people. They're not sure, but
it just happens.
Yeah. Well, they don't know.
That's
if
right.
They knew, but they have made progress. That's for sure compared to years ago.
She has, and I don't know if you have one of these days, but she has a little scanner on her arm. She can just scan it and see where her blood sugar.
Oh, really? No, I just take pills. I don't have to do anything else. That's type 2. Thank goodness. I'm not envious of you there, Kira. I'll admit that for sure.
She's been pretty tough.
Like honestly, when I was younger, I remember getting my blood taken, and I just couldn't do it. But then now this comes in my life, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this every single day of my life, because when I was 2 years old, like 3 years old, I could not do this. Now that I'm here, I can't believe I'm doing it. But.
So if it's going to happen, it's better now than when you were younger.
Yes, definitely. I'm happy that it happened when I was older, because then I can do it myself and not have to like rely on my mom to do it for me. So
you're a pretty independent young lady from what I'm seeing.
No, she's taken a lot of responsibility on for this for sure.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Responsibility and accountability is important. Yeah. And Kira, you seem like you're really happy. You know, like I mean, it's. I'm sure it has its moments.
Yes.
So you got to sit in the corner sometimes, whatever. That's okay. But you seem like a happy person, and you're going to be okay.
Well, like, I honestly, like, when I first got diagnosed, like, I was crying a lot, and I was like, why did this happen to me? But, like, eventually as time went on, I was like, I can't just live in this, like, dome I have around me where I just think all the negative thoughts. So eventually I just, like, was like, okay, I'm fine. Like, I'm not going to die. Like, I have this, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I just kind of.
Well, you know where that comes from, right, Kira?
Where?
Well, you live in a pretty positive environment with your family, and
Well, my mom. I guess it comes from my mom.
Yeah, well, and I've got to know your mom pretty good. You know, but it really does make a difference, right, Tana? You know, a positive environment. And we talked about this, you know, with other things you're involved with. That whole environment, what we surround ourselves with, who we surround ourselves with, and I'm guessing that's probably. Yeah, I mean, you seeked this out and found, and now you're working to bring this to Sarnia.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So when is this? What's this event? Let's talk more about the event and what's going to be happening at it.
So it is Sunday, March 17th. It's at Alexander Mackenzie, runs from 9 to 3. It's $10 for your whole family to come. Lunch will be provided. In the morning, the kids are going to play basketball and some other sports, nice. All while talking about diabetes as well. We'll all come together for lunch. In the morning, there's also a parent session. They're going to talk about navigating the school system with type 1 diabetes.
Right.
And in the afternoon, the kids are going to do a drama and dance workshop as well. So I'm just hoping.
Oh, Kira, you're signed up for the dance workshop, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's going to do it all.
Not too excited for the basketball part, though. But, you know.
It's all good.
I'd suck at that too. You'd probably do better than me.
So yeah, I'm hoping,
go ahead.
You know, the kids will. I'm hoping Kira will meet some more kids. You know, she knows one little guy, Seth, and they get along really well. And it's just nice for them to hang out. And
nothing wrong with making new friends for any reason.
Yeah, for sure. And they get it, right? Like,
yeah,
they understand.
Definitely.
So hoping.
It's nice to have somebody to relate to, right? You can kind of go, oh, they understand. We tend to feel comfortable with somebody we can relate to because they get it, right? It's always nice when you're talking to somebody who gets it.
It's definitely nicer than talking. I mean, like, it's nice talking to my mom too, but like, she can't tell me because like a lot of these kids have had diabetes like before me that are coming to this or just got diagnosed. But like Seth, he's had it before, and I've asked him some questions, and it was nice because, you know, I couldn't ask mom that because she doesn't know, but she does, which is nice.
And sometimes it's nice to talk to somebody besides mom or dad. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Really?
And mom and dads are okay with that too, as long as you're talking to somebody.
For sure.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, St. Paddy's Day, what a day to have an event.
Yeah.
Right. But I hope it goes really well for you. Are you getting a response pretty good so far?
Yeah. Last time we checked, there was 33 people signed up, so that's good. I think about maybe 11 of them are the kids with type 1 diabetes, 11 or 12, which is awesome. So I mean, it's the first event where, you know, just hoping to spread awareness and, you know, bring this community of people together here.
Yeah. Well, I can't be there because I got another commitment, but if I wasn't busy, I'd definitely be there. Mm-hmm. And because I'm curious to learn more too. I probably haven't put enough into it. Anyway. But it's definitely something you got to manage, and you're taking the right steps. Kira, congratulations to you. I'm proud of you for taking on the responsibility.
Well, I honestly I honestly say to myself, like, I don't want to do this, but like, I want to live, not die, because like the option is either live or die. And I would rather
you know, it's not a hard decision.
You know, I'd rather live, so I take it.
There you go. Right on. And Tana, good for you for taking this on too, and bringing this to Sarnia. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that appreciate that. Right on. I've got the Facebook page out there. We'll share that so people can find out, and we're going to be posting the links on and the information about how people can get signed up and come out and join as well. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to throw out there, Tana or Kira, before I let you go? Did we get it all in there?
I think I'm good.
I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, you're welcome back anytime. I know you've got lots to talk about, Tana, and Kira. All the best with your dancing as well.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for joining, ladies.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome anytime. There you go. Mother-daughter, Tana and Kira, talking about type 1 diabetes. Great idea. We would think support like diabetes. You know, we hear that all the time. But it's nice to be able to have people around to talk to and get some tips and relate to, and why not have some fun at the same time? So thank you again, Tana and Kira, for joining us. And that's coming up March 17th. And again, we will post that on our Facebook page after the show. All right. Wow. The time has flown by. And I said we'd have some great people on here, and we had some fantastic people on here. I want to thank Amy from the Family Counselling Centre talking about the kids on the block, not the new kids on the block. I might have got that would have been fun. But the kids on the block and the puppeteering that they do for some counseling with young folks, fantastic. I hope to have Amy and Claire was in there as well. Of course, my friend Harold Collins from Circle the City, a great local musician having some success, and their Sarnia Indie Night #2 coming up May the 25th. Tickets $25 for that, and you can get them online at T42. I think it's $25. No, it's May 25th. We'll have all the information posted after. If you can't watch me, or you can't stand watching me, whatever, you can take me on the road with you, or take me jogging, or whatever you got to do. The show is now available on Apple Podcasts, Anchor. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it, wherever podcasts are available. That's where you can find me. Take me on the road. I'm making sure I didn't forget something, because I always feel like, okay, I'm all good. That's all the time we got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show, live. Bye for now.